One time, I was more like a teenage now. We decided to go to the park. And as you can imagine, New York is a lot of parks. But in this particular reason, she wanted to go to a park to do some sort of ritual or whatever. I went with her. And we were in this area where there was sort of like a beach, and a man-made beach. And this woman passes us. She was kind of grayish looking, like very, I don't even know, but she passes us and her teeth all rotten, and she shows us her teeth and she keeps walking, and the woman totally disappears. And I'm looking at the aunt and she's saying, oh, that was a ghost. And I said, really? But the lady disappeared, so I didn't know what to think. And then all of a sudden the waves started getting like really high and stuff. And my aunt, she goes near the water and she goes, shh, shh, slow down, quiet, quiet. And the water stays still. So my aunt had the meaning over the environment, which was really interesting. But I think that the fact that I had the Holy Spirit inside of me, even though I didn't know really who he was, kept me from being possessed and actually doing. Because this is the thing, let me tell you something that a lot of stuff people don't talk about in the voodoo area. In the voodoo, talk about voodoo. You know why is it that this community never grows? I mean, you will think all these people doing witchcraft, they should be millionaires. I mean, they know how to tell you the future, they know what numbers are gonna come up, but they always broke and poor. Well, you know why? This is the thing. Because a lot of people are doing the witchcraft, right? Depending how much power you have, that's how much respect do you get. Like, for example, I told you that my mother was a sister of this voodoo priestess, so people didn't mess around with my mother. My mother would get away with a lot of stuff. But everybody, all the priests, they kind of competing against each other, because the more reputation they get of how powerful they are, the more clients they get. Okay? Now, when I was growing up, was the Dominicans started coming to New York with drug dealing and everything. So all those drug dealers used to pay a lot of money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars for protection amulets. Protection amulets come from anything from clothing articles that have been blessed by some priest, all the way to a leather belt made out of human dead flesh. Okay? Depending how much money you're willing to pay. And the power depends. Well, these people, they totally, completely are always fighting against each other, but spiritually. There's a spiritual warfare in the voodoo community, and nobody really talks about that. Yes, they say they want to help people, whatever. The reason that people get so caught up in this voodoo thing is because with God, you have to wait on his time, because he knows what's best for you. But when you deal with the devil and all this, it's instant gratification. For example, you do a witchcraft, within next week, probably a day, probably in hours, boom, you see the results. Of course, now with the revelation that I've learned, thanks to you and to the Church of the Gates, I understand that everything has a consequence. So when, let's say this person did a witchcraft to get a job, and in order for him to get that job, somebody needed to get fired, or the person had to get sick, so he got the position. But he don't care, because he just wants to get the position. Well, when the consequence of his action come back to hit him, he's so into this voodoo thing that he started thinking that it was a neighbor or somebody else who was jealous of him. So he would do another witchcraft to go against the neighbor. And in that way, everybody starts damning each other. So it's nothing but people damning each other and doing witchcraft on each other, because they want to be the strong one in the community. And the community doesn't grow. They're just saying bad things to each other. You understand? So, that's what it was for me. I wanted to be a priestess. My aunt never took interest in me, but I wanted to be a priestess. I will always say, why can't I just get possessed like everybody? Because that was seen as something great. I mean, for you to have power, you have respect in the community. But now I understand the Holy Spirit was inside of me. He would not allow. And it came to a point, the way that I got out of it was, it came to a point that out of nowhere, somebody must have been praying for me. God was calling me or something. Christians started evangelizing me. They will haunt me everywhere I went. There was Christians everywhere. Everywhere I went, there was people trying to talk to me about God, which was annoying to me at that time. And when I would go to get my hands read or my cards read or something, they will always tell me they couldn't see anything. Oh, get out, I can't see anything. But they will get nervous, like I was bothering them. My presence was bothering them. No matter what I did, I never really got into doing witchcraft to do any harm for people, because whenever I tried to do witchcraft, it never worked. My witchcraft would never have any power. It wouldn't result in anything. Anything used to backfire. So I stopped messing with that. When I used to go to this voodoo priest, they couldn't see my future no more. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you, get out. So I started telling my friends, that's not good. So slowly but steadily, I got out of it. My friends followed. And a lot of my friends, their mothers were voodoo priests too. They just, they became Christians eventually. And something happened within the last 10 years where now there's so many churches in the Dominican community. So much so that even Dominican Republic, like the most famous merengueros, that's our traditional music, merengue, they have become Christians, and they are now, instead of singing those dirty songs, they actually singing for Jesus and evangelizing through the TV. And also a lot of reporters, a lot of TV shows have become Christians, so it's really good. I just want to say that after a few years of being over there, I finally accepted Jesus after all the Christian going everywhere I went, and I accepted Jesus. And after a while, God told me to come to Miami, so I came to Miami, and this is where I actually met the mentor that I have, and he was already learning from your videos and being educated. So by the time that I met with him, I was getting educated as well. And I want to tell you that your church, Don Paul, is phenomenal. My life has completely changed. I mean, even the way that I dress, the way that I act, I'm learning about my identity. A few months back, I was doing really bad financially. I was in another church, and I started paying I transferred my money to your church. So I was giving your church the tithes. And let me tell you, in my bank account, I was 200 minus. That's how broke I was. And now, I'm like $400 extra cash every month. And I told my mentor about this. It's incredible. I don't even know where the money is coming, but every month I have more than enough money. And it just has been a blessing. And I want to thank you for the light that you bring to all of us. They are willing to open our mind and to actually believe. I do believe in what you say. In my family, because of all that witchcraft and everything, my uncle, he's a voodoo priest, all from my mother's side. My aunt is a voodoo priestess, and everybody in my mother's side, we have I don't know what to call it, if it's the gift to see, to hear. I thought that it was ghosts, but now I see these demons. All that ability, we're very sensitive to our environment. And I'm glad that God didn't allow me to fall into that. Now I'm able to use my ability to as a prophet of God, to do his work.